Good evening. I would like to call the July 28th, 2026 informal meeting to order at 1 p.m. We'll start over with Ms. Duval. Do you have anything today? Okay. Ms. Bonzik?
I do have something. So in May, I believe, of this year, a thing came out to everybody's email to be part of a policy leadership cohort through NSBA. You had to apply for it. You had to fill out a thing. So I did, and it consists of 4 virtual meetings, 1 in-person meeting. And the cohort is for leadership in special education. You had to be picked. It's national through the whole state. Any school board member could apply, and you had to be picked. So I applied. I forgot I applied. Then I got a letter stating that due to so many applications, they wouldn't give you whether or not you were accepted until after July 15th. So after July 15th, the letter came in the email that I was accepted to be part of it. So the cohort is for a complete capstone project, and you present it to Advocacy Institute. The project is a critical component of the cohort experience. It's designed to influence and form policy decisions at a national level. This works aligned with NSBA advocacy agenda to ensure school boards have the tool and knowledge to make informed policy decisions in their districts. So this also is working with Congress at a federal level to write bills for special education. So, and I was accepted for it.
Congratulations.
So you're saying you want to go?
So yes, it'll be coming to the board for me to go to the one day that I have to present. So I have to present basically a bill to them for special education.
Ms. Duval?
I think it's awesome, especially when it's a selection process. You don't just go to something. You have been selected and to represent us in an area that is very much in some difficulties with funding these days. So, yeah, I think it's great. And I think I definitely will support you going.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Mr. Johnson?
I think you have everybody's support in this board. When do you have to submit something to be put forth for a bill, and do you have anything particular in mind that you would like to see?
I don't yet. So the cohorts you meet with a group, whoever got accepted to it, will meet virtually online. The first meeting is August 17th. And then I'll do that every month. And then in January, the end of January, is when I'll submit in Washington.
Cool.
Awesome.
Are you going to let us know what as you go along?
I absolutely will.
'Cause we might have valuable input. We may not, but we think
Absolutely. Yeah.
great, deserving.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, did you have anything to talk about today?
No,
Awesome. Okay.
I had to think for a minute.
Nice. All right. Ms. Rodriguez?
I would like to discuss what we had previously talked about with the valedictorian and the SAL, and maybe looking at some ideas and parameters that we could put in place for those students going from the ACE to the IB. So I would like to have a little discussion on that.
Ms. Duval?
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Mr. Pender was going to get some district staff together to look at that and come up with some suggestions. So
That's what I would like.
I think that, go ahead.
So I know that we talked about some alternatives to changing the process, I believe, is what we spoke about that time, changing the policy. So I know that John Morris has reached out to the parent, and after the board meeting, he attempted earlier in the summer, left a message, and I believe they made contact this week to discuss between the parent and John and Brandon at Springstead as to what recognition and what that would look like at a graduation, and discuss that with the parent. That's where we are that I know of right now.
So I was not, Mr. Johnson and I were both not at the workshop when this was discussed, and I was watching it. I actually had it wrote down. Tonight it's in our agenda to be approved, the Val and Sal and the student progression plan. And I feel like with the changing of times and things change and evolve, before when we had the 3-year rule, the 3-year mandate, we didn't have the option for them to have the ACE program and the IB program. And I feel like you're penalizing the students for wanting to have more rigor, in my opinion, that because he's moving schools for the rigor, not because he wants to be Val or Sal, he's being penalized for that. And I think we want to encourage our kids. It's a great opportunity to complete the ACE program and then go into the IB program if they want to, or even do the AP capstone. But I feel like we should have some kind of exception in our policy for that, whether it be, I know I looked at other policies and they were 2-year, or some were 2 years to be Val or Sal, and others were 3. I understand that if we changed it now, it wouldn't be fair to the kids that are there now to have that their senior year to get knocked out because we've changed this policy. But I think that we could offer it as a co-Val or a co-Sal, and maybe do an exemption in the policy.
So what I'd look at, I think you said something that's important. They'd have to either complete the ACE or the IB program and then transfer and qualify. Because if they don't, and they're number 3 in their school, and they look at the other school, they go, well, I could go and transfer and be the Sal or the Val. That would be wrong.
Correct.
And that's what I said.
he did. He completed the full ACE program and the full.
So I could see doing that if they complete the program, not if they're in between just because they want to be.
But the only opportunity that they would have to continue on would be to transfer. So if they're at Central, in order to do the IB, they'd have to transfer. So that, to me, they shouldn't be penalized for taking rigorous courses and doing something exceptional. If anything, I feel like we should definitely consider we should consider something too, because that's a rigorous group of
Both of
courses.
them.
I mean, that is a lot for them to accomplish. So I think that we could do better. I'm not sure what the better looks like at this moment, but we can discuss it again. But I do think that there's something that we can do to be able to acknowledge that the student has been exceptional and has worked hard, not to mention, the student being in this district doing these type of courses and the finances behind these courses and how it gets applied to the district. I just think it's a benefit for the district. It's a benefit for the student.
Right, Ms. Duvall?
I think there is a workaround. First of all, we haven't heard from Mr. Morris, but I understand why it's 3 years. Absolutely understand why it's 3 years. But I also think there could be a different category, a different title for someone who is in this situation of completing ACE and IB.
And
And including that in the program where they're going to be recognized at graduation for this accomplishment.
That's what I was going to suggest, a separate title or designation.
But why not be still eligible for Val or Sal? I still think that they should still be able to.
You have students that have developed 4 years at a particular school and working their butts off, and then somebody's going to come scooting in from the outside in a senior year.
they're not coming in the senior year. They can only come in 11th grade. And I
They're coming
stated
in
this.
the junior year, and somebody else is working their way up.
But I mean, he's been working at our schools too, doing the same. It's not
But-
like he's
Right, but if
transferring
he
from
stayed at the
another
school he was
school.
at,
Not to mention, he's the first student to take that pathway.
Which I stated that too.
So we have
when-
not.
I'm not talking about that particular student.
Right.
I'm looking at
Future.
future. So if we're going to create a pathway for someone in the future, we got to make sure it's not someone who's just going to jump schools to get that title, but somebody who earned it. Now, yeah, it's hard to get complete an ACE program. It's hard with an IB program, no doubt. But we have to do something to protect the students that are in the schools that work just as hard.
Agreed.
So,
I think all
Mr.
of it-
Johnson, though,
I think Mrs. Duval is onto something. If we had a separate title or designation that would be optional, so if no student came in and transferred in, it would just lay dormant, would be vacant. I think that's a better way to do
But
it.
if you transfer to ACE from the ACE to IB, it's harder to beat those kids that are already at the IB
I was just gonna
program.
say
Like
that.
it's going to be way harder to.
It
to
shouldn't be, though.
I just think we should
No.
have a separate designation, even if it's something we consider or make above or more important than a Sal and Val.
In my opinion,
Because
though,
it would be it's not going to be an every year occurrence.
but an outdated policy that we've had, such as the student's path of the 2 years of the ACE, 2 years IB, it wasn't a consideration at the time of the policy because that policy has been set for so many years. So with this situation, the student was the first to take that pathway, and there are exceptions. And like I said, we'd never want to penalize a student for doing such a outstanding job. And that achievement isn't something that everybody can do. So I think that it's significant and he should be acknowledged, or she.
You can't have a co-valedictorian or salutatorian if the grade point averages aren't exactly the same. So there's a little bit of hesitation on my part to agree to a co-title.
in which when I brought this up at the last, when it came, did I not say, and I asked Mr. Morse to tell me if that other child was something. Remember, we talked about this in teachers' kids and what have you, because he is not eligible for one of the things with his GPA at this point in time, and I had stated that, but I did feel that the only way you can do this is by starting in Central High School, which I stated in December, and I stated again the last time. You can only do it by going to Central, finishing the program, which he did. He finished the program. That's outstanding. Then he transferred into Springstead, which again, he would still have to beat the highest scores. There is no guarantee that he would beat it, and that's why I said the exception. And I was voted against the exception because we make one exception, we'll make all exceptions. But I still think that only that exception should be put into our pupil progression plan, that if you can complete our ACE program and turn around and complete our IB program and have the highest GPA to be able to get you Sal or Val, you should be entitled to be able to at least get it. I'm not
Right.
saying.
And I don't think that you were voted against on doing what's right. I think what happened is we were hearing from so many different people up here, and as we were navigating through different scenarios, things were happening. So as we would say one thing, then they would bring up something else that would make sense.
Well, I'm just
as
saying,
well.
but it was voted
So-
down to a no, and it was only me, so.
Well, I'm bringing it up again today because, once again, ACE and IB are offered at different schools in Hernando County. So with that being said, any ambitious student wishing to complete both those programs, they're forced to change schools for the 2 years. So therefore, that they should not just be missing out on the opportunity, just because they have to change schools if they want to continue thriving.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing is that you would like to have
The exception,
And-
only if.
and keep the policy the way it is currently, but add a
An
caveat
exception.
An
of
exception.
a student who completes the ACE program, completes the IB program, and has the GPA to be either either the Val or Sal,
They have the opportunity.
then the 3-year requirement would not be held against them.
Correct.
Right, because currently they sacrifice their
But
opportunity.
not
for-
changing our current
Correct.
policy.
Right.
Yeah.
3 years.
Creating language
Created the
for an
exception.
exception.
Yep.
Yes, because right now they're sacrificing that opportunity, how we leave it if we don't go back to the drawing board and change it for the Val-Sal recognition under the current 3-year policy.
Right.
And as it currently stands, it seems to be punishing, in my opinion, any future high-achieving, ambitious student choosing that path. And that's not what I think our intentions are, not anybody on this board. So I would like to do something to where we can do something different.
Could Miss-
Also, that student was not aware with the guidance counselors. They were not told that they would be sacrificing that possibility
after the fact.
of Val-Sal recognition by going into the IB program. So that's another problem because, and also it might be in the plan for the parents to read the entire student progression plan, but let's also be a little fair when it comes to parents having to read that whole plan. It's hard. Most people don't. So I'm not saying that.
It
You're
is hard.
relying when you have a
It
really,
is
yeah,
hard.
it
And
is.
we
However,
are
if
old
your
school.
kid is going to be in contention for Val-Sal, I can tell you the parents read that with a fine tooth comb. They
Well,
do not.
I think as
But I
long
think
Not-
they read it when they
a
get
lot
to
of-
9th grade. I wouldn't look at it and
Yeah, and a lot of times.
and maybe 10th grade, maybe 11th.
A lot of times, traditionally, old school, we tend to rely on our guidance counselors. So
Thank you.
that is something that parents do. As a parent, I believe in our guidance counselor. Mine at Wikiwachi is outstanding, and I go and sit down with them, with Bella, and we go through everything, and they're on top. They're constantly calling Bella into the office and revisiting her plan and looking at everything to see where she's at, what she has to do next, and all of that. So maybe I'm spoiled because it's always been where the guidance counselors are very helpful and they're on top of things, and that takes the weight off of me as a parent. So maybe that's kind of not fair on me, but I can say other parents probably feel the same. We're all busy, so we tend to rely on those guidance counselors, which normally they're extraordinary and they do a great job. So all I'm saying is that progression plan for parents to read, most of the time, parents tend to kind of skim over it, but we tend to rely on our guidance counselors.
Mr.
Johnson?
Pender, is it possible for Mr. Morris to develop some language
We can,
along the lines that we're discussing?
I think one of the keys to that would be he'd have to, the student would have to complete the ACE program in order to be in contention with the 2 years.
Right, they can't.
That's what
They
she
can
said,
only
right.
do the ACE program first. You cannot do the IB program until you get into 11th grade. You can take, Mr. Morris,
Oh,
you
you
want
do-
to come up here and
you-
What I'm
explain
saying
it?
like to
is
come
they
up-
have to complete the ACE program.
correct, just like Ms. Duval read it is how we want to amend it.
But
Thank you.
It's pretty, I mean, legally, I mean, I think what he
Mr. Myers.
would do is just a limited waiver of the 3-year rule based on these conditions being.
Correct, and that's,
I have a question quickly, though, before you do speak. The majority of Florida districts have that 2-year policy, the junior and the senior year for the Val-Sal recognition, which does seem adequate to prevent school hopping, in order for them to be able to game the system. So I'm not sure if that's something that we even want to talk about, but since we're talking about everything, let's talk about the 2-year, 3-year. I know
I think he said that last time. The reason why we do it that way for the 3 years is because when we pick our Val-Sal, right?
but
Doesn't that
other-
have something to do with
but
that?
other districts have the
To avoid
2-year.
the school
So
hopping,
I-
right? Or coming out of district, anything like that.
Yeah,
we used to have 2-year, okay? That was abused. That's why it went to 3 years.
so the 3 years is a good choice to keep.
So
then.
let's go with
Okay.
the exception.
Let's do the
Let's
exception.
create an
waiver.
exception within the current 3-year rule then, if that's the case and you feel that you guys have had that 2-year before and it was abused. Similar to the current rezoning exception, whereby a student that's completing both the ACE at Central and then the IB at Springstead is eligible to be recognized, which that's what we have to figure out. What is the recognition and how we're going to do that? I
Well, it
had
would
in my
depend on where
mind
the
like
GPA falls.
co-Val-Sal. This
Wherever the GPA falls.
Right, they're eligible for Val or Sal, and again, we can't do co unless it's exactly the same.
Same to
Yeah.
3 places.
But
right.
then they do it automatically, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, if they're exact.
Okay, Mr. Morris or Dr. Morris, would you like to chime in?
I'm
Just
sure
here for
you
questions?
guys want
Okay.
in terms of just throwing it out there that, you can put that in there. I don't know if other students start choosing that path now.
And what's wrong with
As
choosing
well.
that path? It still
Right.
keeps our money
Yeah,
coming to the
I don't have an
district
issue. I'm
and
just pointing out it's going to
Doesn't that
obviously
make-
create
But
some
that's-
issues for two schools only.
But that's choice.
But doesn't
That's
that
our
make
choice.
us even more robust and, as far as
Yes.
that student?
No, I agree, and I think that's the biggest part that universities are going to look at is the fact you completed an ACE and IB diploma.
Because the
We've
student that
stated
we're-
before, the Val South thing is not a major look for universities
But
because
to the student.
I
to
get-
the
no, I
student,
understand that part.
It is tradition, and to the student, it is a big deal to achieve that. They feel very accomplished. So on a student's level, I get that, what you're saying, by all means. With universities, I understand that completely, and it's true. But from a student, it is a big deal to them. And for the student that we're discussing, he was a remarkably high-achieving student within our district his entire high school tenure. It's not like he just jumped at the very end and decided to do something. He did everything to be basically a model representation of what we want a student to turn out to be that Hernando High School delivers, if that makes sense. So
I agree with every point you guys have made. I've
So can you come
spoken
up
with
with,
the parent.
can you
I'll
come up with some language?
it's heartbreaking for him.
Can we pull it tonight and then, like, do we have to pull it tonight and amend it? Because,
I can amend it. My personal opinion is you approve it because teachers are back next week
We
and
can amend it.
and approve it, right? Or no?
Correct.
No, I would have.
there's already a couple of things I need to come back and amend because of legislation that finally got approved and
We can amend
and
after
such,
the
so.
fact.
Okay.
So the plan is to create an exception,
Language.
language,
Language for an
around the-
exception for a student
what you said
That's
at the
crazy.
very
who
beginning.
completes
Yeah,
2 years ACE, 2-year IB,
you must complete.
and
Will that help?
What-
Will that apply this year, though, Ms. Duval, if we bring it back to amend?
You amend it, yeah, just like we had to do a certificate
Yes.
of completion
Okay.
last year, we had to amend that, early October.
We don't
I'll
wanna-
amend it
we don't
earlier
wanna
than
wait
that,
on it.
but-
we should do
I
it
think what we probably need to do is,
because you got 28-day rule.
I think what we should
Okay.
do is one of us should pull the item and make a motion for that amendment to appear in there, and then have it, approve it in lieu of an amendment coming back.
Agreed.
And if we announce it now, before the school year starts, it's in the official record. And therefore, if we turn around and change it at a later date or reflect an update in the manual, it won't be a negative. Mr. Meyer, what do you think about that?
What is it that you're going to be approving then tonight? I'm not clear.
A future amendment to the exception. But by announcing it, we're making it part of the public record.
Tonight, how
Therefore-
as it stands,
Yeah.
there is no exception. There is nothing changing. We do not want to just approve that as
Yeah.
it sits.
Okay, can't we just pull
I think you
pupil progression plan,
pull it.
speak directly to that particular policy?
And there's two other changes.
John provides some language to us ahead of time.
Right, and
So that
then
we
you-
can mull it over. Someone makes a motion to have the change made, and then you vote on the whole.
Yeah, I think that works
thing.
better.
He also mentioned there's other changes that need to be brought about, so all the changes can be brought about at the same time.
No, we're gonna fix it tonight, and John's gonna have.
Yeah, I have
it'll be
other
fine.
things that I'm waiting for rules to
Yeah,
be
he's
made on and
not
such.
Laws.
Every year I
ready.
have to make amendments
So
because of the
tonight, I'll make the
legislation that changes.
motion.
Yep.
And
That's
we'll do exactly what Mrs. Duval said.
But yes, I would suggest the pupil progression getting approved, so schools, because there are some changes in there that they need to start acting on now, as opposed to waiting for it to be approved.
John, as soon as you can get some language to us,
I
written
can
down,
text you some
please.
language I wrote if
Okay,
you want to
sounds
do
good.
it.
Please
Yep.
get it to us so we can look at it, so the motion can be made and read into the record correctly.
Tonight.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.
Superintendent Bender, you good?
What Susan said.
Okay, perfect. All right. All right. And,
Thank you, Mr. Morris, and thank you,
Perfect.
board, for considering.
all right. So I have, if we're going to look at policy changes, I have something to share with the board that I would like to also evaluate. You can pass that down. And then it's two per person. Yeah. Okay. And that goes to Susan and Michelle.
Michelle.
And then if Ray would like.
I get one too.
Yep. Okay. So recently, we've had some of our schools come up and want to change their mascots. After hearing about this and evaluating it and researching, I think we need to have a discussion regarding developing a district policy for school mascots. These are current policies that other districts have in place, because I think that our schools take pride in their tradition and identity, but we currently don't have a formal board policy, and I think it's important for us as board members to vote on that and know what's happening and know what's going on, so we're not constantly changing mascots. So these are just two examples of Brevard County is on the second page on how they've changed their mascot. Some actually require that the mascot be non-fictional, but I think that it's important for us to have some policy. We have a policy in place for naming of a school, and a lot of districts have it under that. They just add it to it. And then the superintendent has developed procedures on selection and change of the mascot. Does anyone want to comment or have input on the
Mr.
mascot?
Pender, help me with this. How many times have mascots been changed?
Well, I don't know all the totals. I know I remember West Hernando changed their mascot from the Eagles to the Bears.
Well, that was because they went to,
Bear County.
Chocochatty, I believed, in recent years, like last year or year before last, approved their mascot, and then this year Deltona. That's my recent history.
Chocochatty.
Chocochatty didn't have.
They didn't have a mascot, so they created a mascot, but,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
But there needs to be there needs to be a policy in place when you change your mascot. I don't think that it's fair to a 37-year-old mascot to just say, get a new principal, or even before the principal is at the school, for an intern principal and staff to decide to change a mascot without the new principal there. I think that we need to have a policy in place for this. Does anyone else disagree with me?
I'm not sure I like the board taking,
You got one.
I don't know that, I'm not saying that I want the board to have full, decision on
Policy
it.
that they should vote on.
That's what, right. Read some of how the other districts have in their policy.
So when I look at, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You have one that's confusing to me on the second page of the stapled one. The second item down doesn't make sense. If living person may also be an elected official, but shall not be in office or have left public office for a period of not less than 5 years.
Go on down to mascot. That's naming of their school.
No.
That's naming of the school.
Yeah, that's just a
That's naming. I was just giving examples
That
to you
does
guys.
not make sense.
No, and I'm not saying follow this to a T. I was just showing you
She's showing you
how
how.
other schools have a policy in place for mascots and how what it's written like.
usually.
You don't like the cute, cuddly little dragon?
It's not about the dragon. I think it's more about that the procedure in which it happened. So they decided, and they went and they got input from the teachers and they got input from the staff, but district staff didn't know about the mascot. And then we were told right before it was going to happen. I just feel like that procedures need to be in place and a policy needs to be in place.
So when I look at 2900, it basically says that the superintendent will develop procedures around a mascot. So if that was the policy, if you made this the policy tonight or not, I'm going to develop procedures around changing a mascot in the future. But if this policy, this 2900 from looks like Hillsborough maybe, if
I'll read it. It says, the board shall, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve by vote or any process our proposed new mascot for any elementary, middle, high school, change an existing mascot from elementary, middle, high school. The superintendent shall develop procedures. But it just says that we, as a board, know about it, we approve it on your recommendation, and then there's procedures in place, because there's not right now. Okay, Ms. Duval. Sorry.
It's okay.
I have a problem.
I just don't. I think the superintendent should, if they so desire, he or she so desires, set up procedures perhaps to make it more clarifying for what's going on. I don't want to see the board get involved in voting on a mascot.
We vote on the name of a school. It's tied to the school.
That's a whole different ballgame. A mascot, no.
Mr. Myers, do you want to put input from other school districts and how they handle it?
I think we should approve it, but I have a problem with that A, where it says the superintendent shall develop procedures for the selection and change of mascots, period. Not to ensure equity, inclusion, and transparency. That can be eliminated.
Oh, I'm not saying use this language. I was just showing you that other districts actually have a policy
Even looking.
regarding the mascot. All right, Mr. Myers.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, there are three options as I see it across the state. Some have no policy, like Hernando. Some have a policy where essentially the superintendent makes the decision and the board just sort of accepts it, ratifies it, if you will. And in other districts, the board makes the decision. Sometimes it's subsumed under the naming rights policy, and sometimes it's a separate policy.
All right, Ms. Rodriguez, do you have any comments on it, or?
My comments would be, I think that there should be a process of informing the board through a workshop. I hear you say that we were unaware and didn't know. I think it's nice for us to know. So I think we could have a process of informing the board through a workshop to where we don't know that, so that we're aware that it's happening and we know that they're looking at it. I think that the process with the community and the stakeholder input, I think that that's important. And I think that what they're wanting, as far as creating a new mascot with the SAC, with the parents, with the teachers, with whoever, I think that that's a good thing. And I believe that they did do that and everybody got together and decided what they wanted. If I'm hearing your heart, Mrs. Hawkins, I think I'm hearing you say that we would like to be informed.
Correct. I think just a procedure process for it. Mhm.
Then can we just leave it as that? That
I think we should.
if there's a potential change in a name or
The naming is
a
already in
mascot,
there in
then-
the policy. I just don't see why not add the mascot in there
I would
as
like
well.
to see it added that it's a policy that they come in front of the board, not so much that we choose their name for their schools or any of that. I do think.
But that policy, when you do a policy, then
I think,
You vote.
I think the board should approve the change. And how it's developed should be up to the individual school.
Right, they can.
Correct. I agree with that 100%.
But-
So- But it should have, we're naming a building or we're naming a mascot, that's a representation of this district.
Of our district.
That should be approved by the board.
we've got it for the facilities with the board already.
So just
What
add-
Shannon is saying-
add the mascot into it.
What Shannon is saying is just bring it to a workshop for a mascot and let us know what they're thinking, their process of what they're doing,
You got
going to do,
consensus.
and let it go. Let
But then
the
if,
school.
Get
okay.
a consensus.
So if they decide on devils or unicorns or such, you guys would be okay with that?
Duke Blue Devils,
Yeah.
St. Pete High School Green Devils.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
had Red Terrors as high school, but I'm just saying,
No,
I think a policy should be in policy.
absolutely not do I want us to have a mascot that would be controversial, that would be nasty, that would be not appropriate. So by no means am I a board member sitting up here saying any mascot could go. It could be something
But if we had objections to it, we would
explicit that would
say
be
it
not
at a
nice, or
workshop.
whatever would be. No, I'm not okay with
So
that.
I still feel that the board should approve it. It doesn't have to be all that controversial. If they come to a workshop and say, we're going to make it the blue parrot, then that's what it is, a blue parrot. We should not get involved in their decision on what it should be. They should have our stamp of approval. Because we or the next board, the board after that, is responsible for the names of the mascots, names of the building, and how the public perceives this district.
Correct.
So
We're not
she's-
responsible
if it's
for
a nasty-
mascots.
If it's a nasty name or something that we don't like or see a potential harm in it, we should not allow it.
We've seen one change. In God knows how many years.
Well, 3.
40 years,
We
50
had the
years?
bear, we had the Thunderbird,
The
and
bear
now
was because the school moved.
dragon. Right.
And the eagle was not going to stay there very long between bear and bear.
Right.
You need
I
that
understand the changes. I agree. And
guess-
Well, you think we go back to like the old days when they used to take, Hernando High used to come and steal the eagle and,
Yeah, that was
and
great.
decorate it.
and I think a policy should
I
be
just
in
want-
place. So what do we want? I know that even other districts have a time frame, like the committee votes on it, they bring before the board, and
What
then they
do-
leave time for the community to also come up and speak about it.
How about the superintendent just make the decision? And the superintendent would inform us
Well,
ahead of time?
We
and if
didn't,
have
we
a-
got informed, a day before they were going to do it this time.
I had no idea.
He had no idea.
I was informed when they sent me the same day I got a copy of the logo of the new Dragon.
Mr. Pender,
I did get a call and was
were you
told.
not aware?
So the change that I would like to see is that, I believe in this particular case, this was started at the school before, the conversation was started at the school before I or
Because there
Gina
was no
or
policy.
anyone, assistant superintendent at this level knew that it was started. So whatever you guys decide on a policy, my procedure will be step number one, come to the superintendent and bring it to cabinet and state your intentions, and start there. But, so,
When I received the phone call from the principal the day before, and it had already happened and was already totally done, I had no idea. So
Yeah.
that was news to me. And I don't like being a board member in our community representing our district, and
No,
other
no.
people know everything about it, and I know nothing.
Well,
don't think
I agree.
I don't
And-
But
think,
then let Mr. Pender handle it.
it didn't get handled, though.
Because he wasn't notified.
He didn't get told either.
So now it's being
So that's why
put
we're.
forward.
So now we're beating
Right.
it to death, and
Just add it
but
in, add it in as,
he can make it very clear to the administrators that this is,
while he's here, maybe the next superintendent, if it's in policy,
Or
it'll
other
be for
board
future.
members, or other
Right.
board
It
members.
needs
And
to be
other
in
board
policy.
members could change the policy back, but I would agree with the policy being.
Can
that.
we have
And what I
maybe-
don't like is the fact that for all the years of Hernando County, the mascots have been great. And by all means, I think that says a lot and it's stupendous. But moving forward, I think if I'm hearing some of you that you're feeling like, what happens if we got somebody who decided to make it something that would be offensive? And then what? Because they would just do it?
no, because it's not just one person making the decision. It's the SAC committee. It is the parents. It is the students. It is the
I
staff.
think the board should approve the final decision, period. That's
Agreed.
all.
Agreed.
Mr. Pender, what's your thoughts on that topic? On the last part that we just said about what is your feelings on the board?
Adding it.
I think
to-
that the board should definitely have input
Thank
as far as if it comes to workshop, if you want to go as far as approval. Honestly, if it comes to workshop and we're at a workshop and any superintendent that's appointed is looking at a board that we don't have consensus at a workshop to move forward on any change, then that's probably not going to happen.
But what I
So-
don't want to do is also, excuse me, what I don't want to do is also tie the hands of our principals and our administrators. I don't want to micromanage them. I don't want to be a board up here that I already feel that teachers are micromanaged to a disparaging point at this point in time in life, because of the climate and the world and the state and all the other things. So I feel like I'm also teetering on, I want to be very mindful that they're put in those positions because we're supposed to trust them, trust their integrity, trust that they're going to do what's right. If it were something that happened and we were not okay with the devil, which I'm not, something like you said, anything that would make a mockery out of our school, that would look divisive, that would look not good, that wouldn't be a good representation of who we are collectively as a board and as Hernando County citizens, controversial, I would want then for us to step in. But I think it's kind of one of those situations sometimes that if there's a need, then we get involved. If there's not, it's worked fine through all the years. We've never had a problem. So I almost feel like I want to be very mindful of micromanaging these administrators that are put in leadership and us taking their authority and their power away from them and us trying to control everything that they do, every decision.
See,
So-
that's where if all I had to do is come and get a nod from us or a final approval, and we stepped away from the whole procedure, let them come up with what they want, like the cute little dragon. I happen to think it's cute. I don't have any objection to it. You know, it's just a little Puff the Magic Dragon, you know. And so I think if they got final approval from the board, real simple, whether it was done at a workshop as a consensus or in front of the board, might be better in front of the board because then it's out there and everybody else would say, gee, they have a new mascot. It's, you know, a soaring eagle.
I mean,
or
is
whatever happens
it
to be.
common sense, or do we need to put something in there?
I think we need
I
to
think
put
it needs to
something
be put in there.
Wait,
Okay.
what I want to ask, let me get this out. Is it common sense, or do we need to put something in there legally, Mr. Pender, attorney? I want to ask this. If something were to come before us that they made a mascot that was disgraceful, then I want to be able to change that. That's all. So if it were to ever happen, I want to be able to act on it and not let that continue. And if not, I don't really want to be in the process. All I want to know is that it's happening, so that when people are talking to me and the buzz out there on the streets are that it's happening, that I'm aware and that I'm not left in the dark. I think that's important. But if something were to happen, silly, crazy, like Mrs. Hawkins said, could potentially years to come, I would like to know that the board has the authority and the position to be able to negate that and change it and go back to stopping that before it happens. That's all. But I don't think I don't want to be involved in picking the mascot. I don't want to be involved in giving them parameters of what they can and can't choose. But if it is something that's not going to be normal, I would like to know that we can stop them from proceeding.
Okay, how about
Mr. Myers?
potential, I'm trying to work on this.
Okay.
You clean it up. Potential changes in a mascot for a school will be submitted to the superintendent for inclusion in a school board workshop for consideration of approval.
That goes into policy.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, just picking up on what the superintendent said, I mean, it's presented at a workshop, and clearly the board finds something about it objectionable. He's not going to go forward with it. So you're better off not adopting a, quote, controversial mascot than adopting it and then having to deal with the litigation afterwards.
So will this,
Yeah, I think that.
But that'll be in writing so that for
Yes.
future boards, and that way they
Yes.
have.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
perfect.
Mrs. Duvall.
Thank you.
send it on down.
Yeah, my biggest thing is
We'll add that to the Neola policy update. Do we need to workshop that workshop language now, or are we okay to just go right to policy?
I don't know.
Are we good? I think we're good.
Mr.
We're
Pender,
good. You
I
can
just,
do it.
our biggest thing, I think, if I'm hearing the rest, all of the board, we just want to be able to know what's happening.
Right.
I think that's,
And I would,
and I think
yeah.
you should know what's happening, so therefore we all know. And then the other thing is, I do not want to tie the hands of our administrators and make them feel like we're micromanaging them to a degree that they don't have the common sense or the authority to be able to get with the SAT group, get with the parents, get with the teachers, and all of them be able to make decisions without bringing it to us and we say yes or no, because I feel like then, once again, it makes them feel like that they don't have the ability to use common sense and judgment. But I also agree that I do not want to continue if somebody did something ludicrous, and I do not want to let that go by.
Thank you. For the record, it's not that I don't like the dragon. I was a dove for many years and always questioned why they picked a dove as a mascot. It was just the whole process, and then going through it and realizing we didn't have a policy brought this forward.
And I love the dove. I thought that symbolized, I loved all the years it was there. I thought it symbolized wonderful things. So just so you know.
Thank you.
But whatever everybody wants is what I would like to see happen, as long as it's not divisive and dirty, you know, something that would make us look bad or be not in our alignment.
Thank you. I appreciate the teamwork here and figuring all this out today. I have one more controversial thing probably, but I will be fast. I will be fast with it because Mr. Myers also has something before we end it too. I would like Superintendent Pender for booster clubs to come before at a workshop or of some sort to review, because with the new Florida state laws that have come where we can pay money, they can be 503Cs. I also want to review the fact that some booster clubs are allowed to have external accounts and others are not. We need to look at that, and also crowdfunding. I want to look at crowdfunding in that workshop
We're
as
not
well.
allowed to have crowdfunding.
We're not, but I want to discuss some of the changes, and not that I want crowdfunding, but I want to discuss some of that.
I would like to see that at a workshop as well.
We brought the booster clubs, I believe, to workshop last year.
Mr. Pender and I
on
have
a
worked
list, so we
together.
can continue to do, we'll bring it forward.
Okay.
We've been working together on the booster clubs for over a year now because I agree completely. I think that we need to be able to assess and understand what's happening within those booster clubs, and we need to have our finger on the pulse as well.
Okay. I know that also having it where they can have some sort of, because now the coaches can be paid from booster clubs, having that as an option for the coaches and such to get paid out of, we can look at that. I know Dustin.
You also have.
It could be
coaches who
scary
can-
too.
Who can pay for students'
Correct.
needs.
Right.
That
So I
could
want to
be a
look at,
big problem.
right, having guidelines in place.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Myers.
Well, actually, this is something the superintendent requested me to go over with you. I don't know if you all received this from the Hernando County Commission, but there's a new law that went into effect in 2025, and it's called the Live Local Act, and I'm not getting into all the details, but it essentially incentivizes development, and it allows development, very dense development, as long as there is affordable housing component. What's relevant to this board, in my opinion, is there also is a tax exemption for affordable housing units across the state of Florida. That was written into the bill in 2025. But what was also written into the bill is that counties that have a glut of affordable housing have the right to tax affordable housing units. And the county commission earlier this year opted out of state law, and they are going to receive ad valorem property taxes from affordable housing units because Hernando County has a glut of affordable housing. So if you choose to take no action at all, it means that those housing units will be tax exempt. If you're going to act on it, you have to pass a resolution by 2/3 vote. I asked Mr. Pender if we could figure out how much money possibly could be generated, that revenue, if you tax the affordable housing units. I don't think that's going to be easy to get at. So I'm putting it out there because if you want to tax those units, you have to pass a resolution. We have to pass it preferably by the fall of this year, and will take effect in the tax rolls for 2027.
Superintendent Bender?
Questions?
So I just thought that giving you that information now, maybe think about it, and we'll bring it back for consideration at some other point. Ask questions if you feel you need to. We don't have to make any, and obviously it's an informal workshop, so we can't make decisions tonight. But I just wanted to put that out there, that is an option that we have. And that right now we're not receiving any revenue from that, and that I think it's relevant that the Hernando County County Commissioners have also opted out of that. So just for your information to decide what you guys would like to do with that.
I'd be curious at how much the revenue would be generated. Mr. Pender? I'd be curious to know how much revenue.
Mr. Myers said it would be really hard to figure that out.
Mr. Pender, I think, had his finance person reach out to the tax collector's office, and I don't know how easy it's going to be for them to segregate that, but we'll try to get
Yeah,
a number.
I mean, we can try, but
I
if
don't
it's,
feel, off the top of my head, it just doesn't seem like a good thing to do. Because if it's affordable housing, you're looking at a population probably that is having a rough time financially to begin with. And that would go uphill to
That,
the.
you need to read the bill, Mark.
Huh?
You need to read it. It was sent to our email. Read it, and it's not so much, they're saying that we have affordable housing in Hernando County, and there's different areas. It's the small builders, not big contractors, that are doing this, that are exempting out. So I spent most of my day on the phone between Mr. Mazurik's office, his person. I talked to Ray, talked to a few different people. So look at it before it comes back. I think it should come back. Also research the other districts around, because there's not a district that hasn't tax exempted from it. And from what I'm being told, there was a lot of money last year. The bill was just passed in 2004.
2025.
2025.
First tax roll. So
Tax roll.
I don't think it was reviewed by this board last year.
Last year, right.
So this year, if you were to opt out,
Correct.
it would take effect January 1st, 2027.
27.
Right.
So with your review, Mrs. Bonzik, what have you come up with?
I would suggest to do a tax exempt and file it with the court. An opt-out, yeah.
Oh,
You
okay,
would,
yeah.
you would. you
I-
would
Just
I
what the
would.
county
tax those
commission
units.
did.
Right,
Yes.
you would do what the county commission did.
Yes, and what other districts,
So when can
school
that
board
occur?
districts are doing.
Well, it would have to be advertised as a public hearing, and then you would have to, I'd have to prepare a resolution, and you'd have to vote on it. And
Yeah.
I'd recommend that you do it in the fall,
Define fall.
September, October.
We don't have fall. A month we have. You say September?
September,
By
October.
September, yeah.
I just wouldn't want to wait until December.
Right.
No.
Yeah, so I'd say October.
Can that
I-
put that in place,
What I
Mr.
was
Pender?
getting at is,
Does
Michelle,
this-
I was agreeing with opting out of it and not doing it.
Okay.
My opinion was that if somebody is in affordable housing, they're probably not in a very good position financially.
Hold on,
And it
Mr.
would only
Johnson,
get passed
I
up
think
and
you have
down
it
the
backwards.
pike.
Yeah,
He
right.
does.
Well,
He does
let's
have it
get the
backwards.
language right.
Yes.
Opting
You
out
have it
means
backwards.
that the people who own affordable housing
Correct.
units would have to pay the ad valorem property taxes. It sounds like you're opting in, but you're actually opting out of the law that says, as of today, affordable housing units, those people who own those units, I'm not talking about the tenants, they are exempt from having to pay affordable.
Council, could that ultimately end up going to the tenants?
Anything's possible, sure. I mean, if they're paying more in taxes, are they going to pass that on to the tenants? They could, sure.
Pass that right down the pike.
But
It'll get down to the tenants.
And that part I have a problem with.
So
So do our homework.
if the board wants to, if you want to read the bill a little bit more, and we can develop a resolution and bring it back to a workshop. And
Workshop,
then 28
September?
days and, put it on in September, yes.
so you can understand what exactly it's doing. Like I said, I did spend quite
Okay.
amount of time on it to understand what we needed to do, because when I came through my email and I saw it, it was a legal documentation that then I was like, oh, what didn't we do? And a new bill that passed, so.
I want to take up a couple minutes too on something.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we should make copies for everybody.
Yeah.
And you have the state statute too? Right. Yeah, right, I have it.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Rodriguez. You have 8 minutes.
Thank you. So our referees for Hernando County, they're having a hard time. They have to have meetings on Wednesday night. They have 3 more weeks of meetings. I believe it starts at 6:30, 7 o'clock. Don't quote me on the exact time. But they would like to know if for 3 more weeks, can they use, say, Nature Coast for their meetings? It's like an hour long, however long the meeting is for the referees. It's the West Central officials instead of them having to drive to Pasco. Could we accommodate the referees holding their meeting for 3 more meetings?
That usually goes through the school and use of facility.
I mean, if they contact Nature Coast, they can
Work with
let them know, work with them if they,
So they need to contact Nature Coast?
if that's where they want to have it. Yeah, contact Nature Coast.
Yeah. well,
And then
I
it would
wouldn't
be in
have
the
an
evenings, so somebody would be there to let them in and
Yes,
Theoretically, a custodian would be there, yes.
custodian.
Yeah.
objection. I have
Yeah,
no
the
objection.
person would, the custodial staff would be notified of such an event, such a time, such a day. They would make sure everything's copacetic, ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all you had today?
Mr. Johnson, were you saying something
No.
about that?
No, he said he
I-
agreed.
I agree that they should be able to use Nature Coast and with the permission of the principal and facilities.
Thank you.
All right.
I don't have a
And with that, our meeting is adjourned at 1:54 PM. Thank you.